There's Elder Scrolls 6 leaks? I did not even know that, but honestly, I think the funny part is it doesn't even matter. Now that we know that Bethesda is making Elder Scrolls and Fallout, people are depressed. Because previously we had that hope that Bethesda just goes bankrupt. They go bump in the night and they're gone. And someone takes over and actually makes a game we want to play. But now that they're making the game and everyone knows it's going to end poorly at best. I mean, no one has any hopes for Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5. It's done. It's toast. It's cooked. It's over. There is no shot. There is no chance. You can pick any word that you want to describe Bethesda, and that's probably going to be shit, incompetent, incapable. Pick one, doesn't even matter. And it's just going to get worse. Now people are going to get depressed and desperate because they know that Bethesda's gonna put the final nail in the coffin for the Elder Scrolls franchise.
It's the first time in what feels like Bethesda's entire existence in which just a massive strategy shift has happened. And a lot of that is in line with Asha Sharma, the CEO of Xbox. She came in, she put her vision forward, and that's being put forward on all of their studios, not just Bethesda, it's Activision Blizzard, the other Xbox game studios. There's definitely some varying opinions about those moves, but one thing is clear. Bethesda is being forced to change, and some of that is in regards to its communication. We talked about this in a separate video, but yeah.
Bethesda is forced to do things that it would never willingly do. The change is not just change, it's massive. It's a whole paradigm shift, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, they responded to a lot of the rumors and everything that people had been saying about Bethesda, along with the Obsidian Fallout. They confirmed a lot. It was something that we talked extensively about in a separate video, along with Todd Howard doing a couple of interesting interviews in regards to that. He actually opened up. Like I said, this is just something that we have not seen out of Bethesda almost ever. They enjoy their silence. But it doesn't seem like they're able to enjoy that these days, especially as pressure is coming down from management in a way that I don't think was felt under Phil Spencer's leadership. And continuing on that, Todd Howard has only furthered his communication. He actually even went on Reddit on the r slash.
I do not believe it's actually Todd Howard. I think it's just the PR team, obviously, taking over the Reddits, the Twitters, the everythings. This is not also new. Big companies do this constantly. Of girls that never message you, it's just some Indian from Bangladesh typing out a sentence so you donate more.
Gaming subreddit and responded saying, "I'm a professional lurker and read your comments all the time," which is just Todd Howard reading Reddit. Maybe not all that surprising. I will say it is rather funny.
Sad.
But yes, he's been doing a lot of communication the last couple of days. He did an interview with Jason Schreier, something that we would have never seen out of old Bethesda. The same thing can be said about his interview with Windows Central, which talked about their relationship with Obsidian. Todd doesn't want to talk about that stuff. They have been very controlled with how they market and talk
What relationship with Obsidian? He hates them.
about their games, but it does feel like times have changed and they are forced to communicate a little bit more. Almost like the consequences of a massive leadership shakeup at the top have had their ramifications play out. And Howard, speaking to Windows Central, he was pretty much asked, like, the online mythology, this is Windows Central assessment, surrounding a purported rivalry between Obsidian and Bethesda. His response was saying that, well, there's actually just this huge amount of mutual respect between Bethesda and Obsidian.
Oh yeah, we love the studio that made a game and then we made a PowerPoint presentation explaining how fucking shit it was. And then that game became the most beloved Fallout IP ever. Yeah, I'm sure Todd loves them. He adores them. They're best friends. Obsidian Entertainment, a friend of Todd Howard's, obviously. Everyone knows this.
Although if you look back at so many interviews over the years, Howard has pretty much just always slammed the door down on the possibility of Obsidian working on new Fallout. Almost makes you wonder, what changed? But just the other day on Kinda Funny Games, Howard recently, he again did another little interview and even brought on Obsidian CEO Fergus Urquhart. Again, just showing that they are working together. They're really happy about this partnership.
We just thought, hey, in this moment, it'd be good to tell everybody.
So, he's not on camera. And the voice sounds strangely altered. Boys, am I the old? Is Todd Howard actually dead? Are we Luigi boarding his ass currently?
What we've been working on, much of this stuff for many years. Shit, you called me. I'm gonna actually call Fergus.
Oh, you steal my bit. You're gonna call Fergus now. Congratulations, this is cool.
It's pretty cool. I started working on Fallout, I think in the way gone years of 1996. It's something kind of near to my...
By the way, even when it's the robots talking, you can feel that one is happy and the other one is like, haha! My life is not ruined. I am still in control. Believe me, please. Haha. Wow. Wow.
heart. It's part of my history, and just getting to work on a Fallout game again is just amazing.
There's a few things that I've always believed. That one, Bethesda does have respect for Obsidian. I don't think they just hate those guys, but I don't think that they wanted them.
I absolutely think they hate those guys.
Working on a new Fallout. And then the other thing is, I do think Obsidian has wanted this opportunity for a long time. Like, they've tried to distance themselves from doing a new Fallout. Like, they did interviews last year saying that we're never going to do that. We're just going to concentrate on an Obsidian IP.
Yeah, it's funny because before that, everything was like, the CEO went and said, we would do a Fallout if they gave it to us. We could do Fallout New Vegas too. Like, the CEO was literally talking about this, what, 2 or 3 years before Avowed and the Outer Worlds hit?
I don't think that was necessarily out of they just want to concentrate on Avowed and the Outer Worlds. It was more so they weren't getting that opportunity.
But anyway, what a great game. What a fantastic experience. I understand why this sold -5 copies.
Until, well, Asha Sharma took over, and now they're concentrating on big name IP. Now, Todd Howard, or Bethesda, I should say, in general, like I said, they have only continued the communication, and recently that came through Mr. Matty Plays, fellow YouTuber, friend of the channel, and...
Whoa! I was gonna say friend of the channel! This is betrayal! Mr. Matty is my friend of the channel! Legacy Kill HD, friend of the channel, great guy, love him very much, by the way, obviously. Well, bro, you can't say that! Now, I know I stole friend of the channel, but you can't steal from me! That's wrong!
He got a couple of responses from Bethesda's PR that we're going to be talking about throughout this video. And again, Bethesda saying they're all about communication. They're really not. You'll understand hopefully by the end of this video. But the first big thing was the Obsidian topic. Mr. Matty Plays asked their Bethesda's PR specifically, there's a community-wide assumption that Asha Sharma came in, cracked the whip, and took control of Fallout as an IP. I mean, that's how it looks. I think some clarity on how this post from Bethesda Games...
Now, granted, again, I am still not in the boat that Asha Sharma actually has made these decisions. These are She probably did make some decisions. She probably has made a couple of big decisions, don't get me wrong. But this whole initiative thing was not her. Because Asha Sharma worked on Copilot and all of that garbage in IT, not IT, but AI, in Microsoft for like 2 or 3 fucking years before this. She didn't make any big moves. She barely fucking managed the garbage that was given to her. There was nothing. And now Asha Sharma just becomes, the head of gaming, and now she has all these amazing ideas. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It could be true, don't get me wrong. This is kind of almost a 50-50 split, what is actually her ideas and what was designed before her. Because trust me, most of this was designed before her. What are her actual ideas, what she's actually pushing and calling a good or wants to change, we still don't really know.
Studios came to be and why they were specifically motivated to communicate with fans would go a long way to clearing that up. This is what their PR or marketing person said. Look, we read the internet too. All of our fans and plenty of creators have been asking for us to lay out our roadmap for a long time. This has been a decade people have been asking for this. As bits of info or announcements come out, individually they get lost in the larger picture of all we're doing as a studio, so we felt it was best to do it all at once and paint a clear picture for everyone. This is a shift in our approach to communication that Bethesda Game Studios has been contemplating for some time now. And obviously everybody immediately looks at our response and says, I don't really believe that all that much. Like, this is the spin that they're going to give. I don't think many of us are buying it. And furthermore, Mr. Mediplays asked, this is more specific to the Obsidian Fallout, is Bethesda Game Studios working on the game in the engine or simply helping oversee it? I'm wondering if this is a similar situation to what I've read about the Elder Scrolls Online and BGS, where it was lore checking, phone calls, and some things like that. Bethesda responded saying, every game in process is different. As with all things Fallout, Bethesda Game Studios manages the entire franchise, from games to movies and everything in between, which is, it sounds like an indirect response saying that no, we still have control over everything that happens with Fallout. But their PR does continue. It says, that said, we have nothing further to share regarding the Fallout project we're teaming up with Obsidian on. We know everyone is excited and has questions, but we're not quite ready to share those just yet. In regards to what
Why was he level 43 when he does the Novak quest? What the fuck?
Obsidian actually has planned for Fallout, whatever this is going to be called. Maybe it goes to New Orleans. Surely it's not going to be Fallout New Vegas, too. I mean, Bethesda kind of already gave us that. But there's a lot of question marks, and I feel like we're probably going to be waiting some time to get official confirmation on what exactly Obsidian is.
Yeah, again, I said it. I don't think it's New Vegas 2. I think there's a very high chance it's not New Vegas 2. It could be New Vegas related and that it's a part of it or whatever, but it's not 2. Because if it was 2, we would have known. We would have known and the name would have been corroborated.
Building here. There's been some rumors that this is going to be done again in the creation engine, so this is just something that none of us ever expected to be a possibility, and here we are now. Obsidian's working on a new Fallout, and the Elder Scrolls 6, who knows when it's coming. But ultimately, Bethesda is not in a good position. I don't think this is getting stressed enough, but a lot of this comes after years of dysfunction, and here in 2026, things have just been total chaos. Like, it's easy to forget, but all of this news is happening after massive layoffs just happened at Xbox, including many developers at Bethesda losing their job. And the union that represents a number of Bethesda developers said that they received termination letters the day Xbox announced new Fallouts after being told that they would have jobs until September. Some are alleging that Xbox and Bethesda are doing this, to try to remove all of the negative PR that they would be receiving. I'm not necessarily sure about that, but it definitely is very convenient, the timing, especially with all of the turmoil happening at Xbox. But look, Bethesda, this is what I mean. Like, last year, they announced the Fallout 4 10th anniversary update. It was something that a lot of people were...
Oh, yes, you see, this is what they call Death Claw in Fallout 4. It's like a kitten. It barely matters.
Excited about, but also a lot in the PC community was kind of outraged just because they were going to destroy a lot of mods, which is exactly what happened. They also broke the game in many new ways, only something that Bethesda can do. And the outrage was immediate on social media and places like Reddit. Fallout 4 Anniversary Update breaks game and adds nothing more than a UI update so that you can pay for mods. I wonder if Todd saw this Reddit post. I wonder. He probably did, but no response, obviously, at the time. Yes, many people were upset. There was very little in this except for pretty much paid mods. That's the best way to describe what that content update was. And also there was the fact that Bethesda had to release a statement which said that they were going to be releasing a roadmap. Yes, a fucking roadmap for a new anniversary edition for Fallout 4. And the only substantial content that came from this was increasing the mod storage space. That was something that actually is a big deal.
Yes, which they officially tried to do for like a year or a year and a half or something. They wanted to do that like a long time ago. But they failed constantly. Again, Bethesda is nothing if not a failure.
For players. Although they had to wait almost 7 months for that content, which didn't come until just a couple of weeks ago, and May 27th specifically. This is just the incompetency from Bethesda. They've gotten away with this with very little accountability. I don't think that's going to crack under Asha Sharma, and surely, I mean, things have already played out very differently than how it would probably under Phil Spencer. But look, they've also been concentrating on Starfield. They've continued that here in 2026, and
I wonder how this would look, though, under Phil Spencer, because I kind of did a little bit of math about their sales and whatnot, and all of the money that Bethesda potentially is spending, and by my calculations, Bethesda should honestly, at this point, be almost out of the big money that they made from Skyrim and whatnot. They should probably already be closed out. That, they need to start actually doing and making something. Otherwise, it's not gonna end well. So I wonder how this would have ended if Phil Spencer would have actually stayed. Would Bethesda still maybe in a year or two announce that finally something's happening? How much did this really push up development time? Because it definitely did, but the question is how much. Again, Bethesda should be running out of money and time at this point.
The success of that has been, there's very little to show for it. Like, if you check the Steam charts, you compare Starfield to any of the big name RPGs that released the last couple of years, it just has not made the impression that I'm sure Bethesda had hoped for. And their recent expansion for Terran Armada and the Free Lanes update didn't bring back many new players. As it stands right now, it has less than 5,000 concurrent
4-hour fucking campaign if you're slow. 3 main quests. Dialogue that literally cuts itself up and doesn't understand where it wants to be. Dude, Terran Armada was worse than Shattered Space, and Shattered Space was bad. You literally had a bunch of retards who didn't have empathy. Bro, ask Skydubs, he has plenty. And their whole social structure was, I can stab you anytime I want. Strange modern day parallels. And I can get your stuff if that happens, because that's how the law works in, House Varun. Yeah, needless to say, it was a shit show. And this was even worse, because there at least dialogue had words. Here, words didn't even follow the correct words for some reason. It was beyond abysmal. No one even knows what the Terran Armada wanted or did. It was just literally they might as well have been Nazis and called the bad guys. Then we would at least have less questions, honestly.
players on Steam. That's not great, especially when you compare it to Fallout 4 and Skyrim, which have like 10 times the player base here in 2026. And even the Terran Armada expansion, if you go onto a place like Steam, the ratings are horrible, like 39%.
Also, fun fact about this explosion that I love mentioning.
Steam, the
because I know this and seems not a lot of people caught it. Watch.
expansion, if you go,
that is the summoning Aatrox and Flame Atriot. This is the summon thing that you get when you summon a Flame Atriot. Only different color. Yes, this is from Skyrim. This is literally Skyrim summoning made into an explosion.
Go onto a place like Steam, the ratings are horrible. Like 39% rating that's tragic. That is really, really bad. And a lot of people in the comments saying, sometime this year I was in Berlin for a concert. While there I had the pleasure of eating the best kebab I have had in my life. It cost me what, maybe $7.50, considering that the DLC cost $10. Without any discount, I have two conclusions. The food was cheaper and it was heavenly taste will stay with me much longer than the memory of this DLC. And yeah, that's just a lot of people very saddened by what Bethesda's quality standards are here in 2026. And that could,
I think Bethesda just had a semi-chub because someone said implied that they do have standards. I would say that they don't.
Be said about the previous expansion, Shattered Space, which Bethesda ultimately, their only response at the time was that they were proud of the content, which, again, all of this just creates a very worrying image, especially as they...
Proud of the... Again, by the way, the reason these companies are making these DLCs is because Bethesda had an announcement when they launched Starfield that they're gonna have like 2 or something expansions. And Steam has a rule: if you put out a game and you say that this thing is gonna have 5 DLCs, you need to have those 5 DLCs. Otherwise, if you just abandon making the game because it doesn't sell enough, Steam can actually issue refunds if people ask because you did not fulfill the DLC promise. Because there is a chance that people bought the game because of the promise of DLCs, and now you broke it. So Steam has that, and, well, it is what it is.
Work on the Elder Scrolls 6 right now. And obviously Bethesda just the other day, they did say they were committed to Starfield making more content in 2027. I think a lot of people question if that's the right thing to do here, because there is not a real strong belief that Starfield has much of a future. especially if players and gamers aren't interested in this content. And that's actually what numerous opinion pieces like this one from Niche Gamer brings up. Bethesda says Starfield is a future, but support alone will not secure it. And they've tried to transform this game. They did that somewhat, again, with that Free Lanes update. They made space travel a little bit more interesting, but fundamentally, Starfield is flawed, and it's a game that some people enjoy, a lot of people do not, especially as you look at that Steam rating for the overall Starfield. 85,000 reviews, under 60% positive. That's not good. That's a worrying.
Oh, okay, I found it. I've actually found it. I looked up the DLC. Bethesda originally promised one major story expansion, which with the premium edition of Starfield, which was Shattered Space, and they did Shattered Space. And Starfield Shattered Space is officially the DLC. Like, it's a name. For example, on YouTube, you can have Starfield as a game or Starfield Shattered Space chosen as the game category, but you don't have this for Terra Armada. You don't have this for any of the other things. So Bethesda is effectively trying to, again, Terra Armada is literally 3 main missions and a bunch of Radiant garbage. So the reason why they do this is to just make money. They will not make another big expansion, which technically Shattered Space was. They're just gonna now try and milk what's left of the player base with like small 2-hour DLC, $10 garbage, it seems like. That's what they're gonna do. Which probably will make them money because you can make them like for pennies on the dollar almost. But still, wow.
Trend that has been happening for a while now with Bethesda experiences. And hell, look, the modding community, it always gets brought up, but it does need to be brought up in the fact that you have Star Wars updates being introduced in.
This is sad. We talked about this. It's very cool. The guy who made this tries really, really hard. He actually loves what he does. But the thing is, it kind of looks cool, but then you play it and it's still fucking Starfield. The problem with making Star Wars a completely full overhaul expansive mod that's really good made. This like has so much love put into it. It's crazy. But it's still Starfield. You could have made this in the Oblivion remaster and it would have been 10 times better. Because this is just Starfield. You can't make Starfield good unless you completely remake the game. So this is cool, but then the admission that it's still Starfield hits and you're sad.
Into Starfield, which is bringing back tons of players. That's what happened earlier on in the year. And then even right now, we're finding out new mods, such as Starfield finally gets seamless planet takeoffs without loading screens, but no thanks to Bethesda, which, I mean, this is a headline that you could say with really all of their experiences in their entire existence. But the biggest, I think, glaring issue that people have here in 2026 with Bethesda is the Oblivion remaster. Like, Digital Foundry covered this in May, in which they said it was still broken year after release, and as
it literally has not a single update that fixes any issues. It's actually crazy. They just abandoned it. They fully fucking abandoned it.
As they said at the time, you may have noticed the game hasn't been patched on PC since its 1.2 update arrived in July 2025. Here we are in July 2026, still no update, no nothing.
Okay, is there actually the Elder Scrolls 6 leaks, I wonder? Because would be interesting. This is Elder Scrolls related, I guess.
Like IGN, because people like Kurt Coleman being thrown to the curb, that was more outrageous to me when that happened earlier on in the year when we talked about all of that. But this is what Bethesda staff told IGN about the cuts that were happening. Their loss will have a substantial and cascading effect on the game and morale of the studio, one Bethesda staff member told IGN. It's been a
Lamau, people lie about this because they're just afraid that they're gonna get fired. That's why they say this. Okay, I believe there is. Maybe there is, but I mean, I actually have to go do stuff, boys. Anyway, that was Legacy Kill HD, friend of the channel. Very cool. 10 out of 10, but it doesn't matter how this plays out. Everyone is currently devastated by the fact that Bethesda is actually making new Fallouts, new Elder Scrolls. It's hilarious, in my opinion. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.